Welcome back to Gale Force Wins Season 3.
The Gale Force Wins podcast is proudly sponsored by Newfound Marketing, a digital marketing agency located in St. John's, Newfoundland. Visit our website at newfoundmarketing.ca to find out how we can help your business grow. Newfound Marketing, a complement to your marketing team.
And welcome to Gale Force Wins, a very special edition. We're up in the Buda Hills. Yeah? We're up in the Buda Hills overlooking the Danube River. What a great day we've had so far here in Budapest. I'm Alan Dale. With me as always, my good buddy Jerry Crew. How are you, Jerry?
I'm laughing because I've promised you I'm going to stop talking about weather.
Yeah?
But
Great. Let's move right on then.
Albert, thank you. You've brought Newfoundland weather. Just so everyone knows, we are actually outside. There's a mist falling. What is it, 10 degrees maybe?
Yeah,
9 degrees?
Not even 8, 9.
The Parliament buildings are just behind, let me see if I can see, just to the left of Alan there, and it's foggy. Albert, thank you for giving us Newfoundland weather while we sit here in this beautiful location. That's it, go ahead.
It doesn't matter. It's a beautiful location when we're here. Albert, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Thanks so much for inviting me to be a part of a film, and I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Laszlo Albert. Everybody calls me Albert, you know. Even best friends calls me all the time Albert, so please call me Albert instead of Laszlo. Where do you start?
Right from the beginning.
Very beginning.
Right from the beginning.
How far do you want me to go back?
I want to talk about when you were born, where you were born.
Oh, jeez. I was born in 71.
Okay.
So I'm actually 50. 51.
You're a youngster compared to the two of us, just so you know.
You're born in 71. Where were you born?
71 in an eastern, the second biggest city in Hungary. It's called Debrecen.
Debrecen.
Yeah, Debrecen.
How far is it from Budapest?
250.
Okay.
Maybe. I grew up in under the communism, or the late communism, transition towards the socialism that was called.
Right.
And I grew up in a communist bloc.
Okay.
You know, and pretty average or low average conditions, like every other kids around.
Right.
So, but I was pretty good at the school. I could learn as much as I wanted to. You know.
Okay.
Pretty easy.
Yeah.
Pretty easy. So I had a lot of time to just hang around and be out in the nature.
Right.
And it comes to my blood, you know. I was always hanging out with friends outside, with fishing and hunting and slink shooting and whatever.
Right.
And after the elementary, I wanted to be a forester, so applied for a high school, forestry high school, but I failed, you know.
Yeah.
So I went towards the chemistry. So that was the second choice of a high school. So I went to chemistry high school, which was a complete failure.
Yeah.
I finished it. I got a degree. I'm a chemist.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine?
I didn't know you were a chemist.
Yeah.
I'm a chemist. But I never ever worked a second in the industry.
Right.
So sometimes I just feel I threw it out in the window like 5 years of my
Right.
life. Happens.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I started my own business.
Okay.
The small business, like 17, 18 years old kids, what you can do, make a little bit of money on everything. And at that time, back in that time, we really had to be like street smart kids, you know. So we built a lot of street-based skills, how to find a little bit of niche on different things. You know, so we traveled, we traded things, everything is small scale, but survived.
Right.
Survived pretty well.
Yeah.
So that's how I established myself as a small business person, as a self-made
Right.
self-made man. Took me, so that's probably where my adventure started.
Okay.
Because I see life as an adventure, as a
Right.
journey.
100%.
How old were you, Albert, when you started that first business?
I actually left the fifth year of high school, just because I made more money than any other teacher in high school. So I just say hello.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
You started it in high school?
Yeah, and in the early 90s, it was like a murky water. You know, after the Soviet Union collapsed, and the privatization is just started. So everybody was just trying to find a position, and a new government just created. So it was early democracy in Hungary.
Right. Yeah.
But that means that was a really murky water.
Just sorry for stopping you, but were you started that business under the communist regime? Did you?
It wasn't. It was not a communist. It was a smooth transition towards a socialism and democracy.
So that the communist regime was out, then you started your entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah.
In around the same time.
Yeah.
As
Okay.
governments were transitioning. And
Okay.
yeah. Before you get into your adventure, you said, and that's really where my adventure began. So before we get into the adventure, I want to go back a little bit there. Tell me what it was like growing up in a communist block, as you described it, in that style of housing and living, and how was that?
Everything was just uniformed.
Was it?
Yeah. Everybody was almost equal, especially in that area, like communist blocks. You got to be equal.
Right.
Like everybody else. Everybody had the same flat. Everybody has the same kitchen. Everybody has the same
Really?
same style, same clothing, almost. You know.
Really?
So there's not much differentiation between the people. But that was the idea.
Right.
Everybody's equal. That was a socialist and communist era, idea.
Did you notice that, or was that
No,
just like,
not at all. No,
That was
no, we
just
were
life.
happy.
Right.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
we were happy.
Everybody was on a level playing field.
And it was predictable and projectable.
Right.
So people, everybody had a job.
Right.
Every single people had a job, and everybody made enough money for living.
Right.
You know, small scale, but projectable and predictable
Right.
ways.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can see why people like that, frankly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's, as you say,
Again,
it's predictable, right?
It's predictable. The older generation still recall that time. Oh, that was the nicest time ever, because everybody was happy on that level.
Right. And tell me what your impression of the West would have been when you were a young man in that era. What did you think of America? What did you think that was?
Honestly, we had not much information.
Right.
You know, because
Music? Did you get music?
on the late 80s, yes, there was a Sky channel and there was another music channel
Right.
came up on TV, so we would just hang on it
Did you?
all the time.
Did you get music videos?
Yeah,
So you saw much music then?
yeah.
Right.
So we saw style. We
Right.
saw what was going on back in that time.
Right.
And it was fascinating.
Well, you must have been
Fascinating.
just because that in even in North America, much music when the music videos came out, it changed our culture in many respects, right? So I can only imagine when you were looking at this, you must have been in awe.
So there was a special place. There was a special style of entertainment that's called video disco, video discotheque. When we had big screens on the wall and was running the American pop music
Right.
continuously. So that was a video disco.
Just American pop music,
yeah.
straight up.
Yeah.
Wow. So that must have been a very interesting time, because I know it was an interesting time in North America when that whole music culture sort of transitioned into video and took off like that. So that's a fascinating lens on it, and thanks for bringing us back there. So you say your adventure really began at that point when you started your own business, come out of high school. Tell us about that adventure.
We had a nice little group. We came together every Friday or every Saturday. We're the same age kids, you know, we were 17, 18, 19. And that was as a part of a social life. That was as a major part of our social life. That belongs to a group, you know. And it was actually a business what is that called? A brainstorm.
Oh, brainstorming,
you know. So everybody brought in some information, and we just start thinking of it. Oh, why we don't go this way and do that? And
Right.
And we did it.
Did you?
We did it. Oh, we were completely.
You weren't just
adventurous.
dreamers and planners.
No,
You
no,
just
no,
did
no,
it.
no. My first trip to Poland, when I was not even 15, me and my other buddy bought a bunch of stuff in our hometown, you know. Jump on the train in Budapest, arrived to Warsaw next morning, went to the market, sell stuff, bought something else, brought it home, sell it, and go back again.
Just bringing stuff back and forth.
Yeah. And we took I think for us, like young kids, we took advantage of traveling to Berlin, East Germany. We went under the wall to see West Berlin, you know, and obviously bought some stuff, make some money, and go back again the next weekend. So that's how we made up our life.
At 15, you were doing this.
Yeah, that was the first trip to Poland. I was 15.
So now, of course, they have in every city core, they have these innovation centers where people come together and they ideate in these fancy places, right? This is exactly what you were doing, right? This is exactly what you were doing, you and your buddies.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out ways. But what I like about it, Albert, is that not only were you dreaming it up, but you were actually doing it, right? So where did you go from there?
In the early 90s, when I was 20, I started working with Russians.
Okay.
So we had to learn Russian in the elementary and in high school. So, and I liked that.
Yeah.
So I always was pretty good at languages. I speak 4 languages right now.
Wow.
So, and I can't remember really how we got into that circle, but there were so many post-Soviet nations came to Hungary, trying to find a business, trying to move a little bit further towards West, and it worked.
Right.
And the old school relationships still was working, you know. So, anyways, I just get in a circle. I started working in the hospitality industry with Russians.
In the hospitality industry?
Hospitality.
Okay. Doing what?
I had a bar.
You had a bar? Okay.
Yeah, I had a bar. And the Russians owned the place, and I run the bar.
Okay.
And I made good money.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. The saying, that was a murky water. We were happy. We were king of the nights, you know, because young kids, you know, 20 years old, young kids.
20 years old, in a bar?
Made a good little chunk of money.
Yeah.
But the big money and the big opportunities just
were passing you
passed.
by.
Yeah, passed by, because that formed the political leadership and the older and more experienced businessmen. You know, they just looked at opportunities and bought huge piece of lands and privatized the big old farms and factories and everything. So that was a big time.
Right. So when did you make the transition out of the bar?
When my son was born.
When your son was born, you left the bar business?
Yeah, I left the bar in a minute. In a second.
Yeah.
He was probably 4 or 5 months old. And I just realized it's
not the life.
No.
Yeah.
You probably started work late in the afternoon and went till the early morning.
Yeah. So I want to spend more time.
Sure.
And I want to be a little
What was the bar scene like back then? Pretty vibrant?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was alive.
Yeah.
partying and
party out.
listening to what kind of music? Punk music? What?
This bar was started as a jazz bar.
A jazz bar.
Yeah,
okay.
we had a piano player.
Right.
It just didn't work.
It didn't work?
We switched to a little bit more modern and
Yeah.
more vibrant
Right.
style.
Right.
That was nice.
So your boy is born. You leave the bar business.
Yeah.
What's the journey then?
Ooh, I made so much things and so much different businesses. I can't even recall every
Right.
single one.
Yeah. We call that a serial entrepreneur.
Yeah,
One after another after another.
yeah, practically.
Right.
We're making you dig deep now, aren't we?
Yeah, we're going deeper.
We do
now.
that on Gale Force Wins.
We're going deeper now.
Yeah. So I know that hunting is a big part of kind of what you do. When did you said that you like to be out in the woods and stuff when you were growing up? Forestry was your dream.
None of my family members were a hunter or fisherman or whatever.
But you just took to it.
Yeah,
What was it about it? You like just being in the nature?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's in my blood.
Right.
It's my blood.
Yeah. What is
I
it
always-
about being out in the woods that intrigues you so much?
It's probably it's therapy.
Yeah.
You know, it's a very nice therapy. Fishing and hunting is nice and relaxed and calm. Just being a part of a nature,
Right.
it's just fantastic.
Right.
It's just a phenomenal feeling.
I bet a lot of people talk about that, right? They talk about being close to nature, and it's almost meditative in many
Yep.
respects, right?
And I feel home when I'm
Yeah.
when I'm in the woods. I feel home,
Yeah.
and I know we human beings we belongs to that environment.
Right.
We don't belong skyscrapers, right? We belongs to there.
But that desire to be in the woods is quite a juxtaposition from owning a jazz bar turned rock bar. It's a huge difference, right?
Yeah.
So tell me about, you did eventually leave native Hungary and make a transition to Canada. Tell me about that transition.
When I reached 35, 38, I had everything.
You had what?
I had everything I needed.
Everything you needed, yeah.
Yeah, financially.
Right.
We had a beautiful house in a nice neighborhood.
Right.
A little swimming pool in
Yeah.
the back. I had a hunting lodge. I bought my hunting lodge in '96 when I was 25.
Right.
And I had
Oh, wow.
an antique store, but back then it just came to my mind. And I bought my hunting lodge. I had horses. We could travel. We could go hunting. We could go fishing. We could do whatever.
Right.
I had enough money.
Yeah.
I was good enough making money.
The dream was realized.
Kind of,
Right.
sort of. And it came a big crash.
Ah,
Yeah. I invested all of my savings with the wrong decision, into
Right.
a bad place.
okay.
So the 2008 crisis came in, and the company was swept away. The company I invested the money to,
Right.
it was crashed, and all the small investors like me, gone.
Wow.
Everything. Gone.
Overnight.
Yeah. Not overnight, but
But yeah.
yeah. So we run after our money, me and my beautiful wife Judith. She's a lawyer, you
Yeah.
know. So we tried everything. We went to the court, went to police, went to everywhere we could have a little bit of hope to get our money back. Never happened.
Wow.
So we got to the point where I just felt we made divorce separate because our relationship just started broken because of that situation,
Yeah.
or my health is
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
So we decided to take a deep breath and make a big change and just go away, you know, just let everything go and go to a new adventure. So the technical way was Judith applied for the second degree diploma in St. John's de Mont University, and we took off in 2012. It was a brave decision.
Because you have little kids, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So arrived to St. John's with 4 suitcases, 2 kids and a wife, with booking only 5 days in a hotel.
Money? Any money? Or
We had a handful of money.
Yeah.
Not much we could save and bring over. It was actually I remember that exactly. The money was in our pocket 36,000 Canadian.
wow,
Yeah, but no connections.
nothing.
We thought we speak in English, but we didn't really.
Well, you came to Newfoundland, so not a different
Newfoundland,
type
right?
of English.
Yes, buddy. So
Yes, buddy, hear that out?
I heard it. Yeah.
so we had to restart. We had to start from the scratch again in Newfoundland, and I must tell you, the first year was tough. The first year and a half, it was pretty tough, and but it just one step to another. It just came around. It
Right.
just came around. I never was afraid of physical work. So a month later, in September, we arrived in August, and a month after, a hurricane touched down at the St. John's. It's called Hurricane Laszlo. So half of the city was crashed. Trees are blown over everywhere, and it was just an opportunity to make some money. So we bought 2 chainsaws. I had a buddy, so we bought 2 chainsaws. We did storm cleanup, right?
Albert, just to position for those that don't know where you are at this point, Albert is now moved with his wife and 2 kids to St. John's, Newfoundland, which is the most easterly point of land in North America, way out in the Atlantic Ocean, often battered by hurricanes. So pick it up from there.
Yeah. So I had a buddy from Transylvania, and we bought 2 chainsaws. And so step by step, I educated myself a little more. I took a few courses, and I started a small business again. Hired a couple of the guys, bought some equipment, step by step. And in 2 years, maybe 3 years period, my team became the most hired professional group in the tree care industry.
Wow.
In St. John's. So I made a few good moves, but it's hard work.
Yeah.
So in Newfoundland environment, hanging on the ropes in roaring wind in April, when you may get an ice storm in the next moment,
Right.
or sunshine or whatever comes, it's hard work.
Well,
But it's paid
funny.
off. It's paid off.
We joke that the weather is similar here today. The only difference is the wind, isn't it?
Yeah,
Alan?
the wind, 100%.
So
yeah.
you would be, how tall, what's the highest you ever went on a tree?
There's no difference. Go up 80 feet or
Yeah, the fall is the same. Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter.
No.
Albert, I want to go back, and what made you and Judith point your finger to Newfoundland? I mean, you live in a country where the ocean is not close. You have a lake, beautiful lake. We were there just the other
Yeah.
day, but there's no maritime environment here. What made you point the finger to Newfoundland?
There was a technical reason.
Yeah.
The university was affordable for
Okay.
Judith, and for me, the environment was just fascinating.
Really?
Yeah. So that was it.
You just pointed your finger there
Pointed
and said,
finger
"We're
there.
going there."
I'm going there.
Man, what a courageous decision, Jerry, to uproot your family after a big kind of financial, and that's an emotional time. Everything is closing in on you. You say, okay, we're going to mix this up completely. You must have known down deep inside that you had that entrepreneurial spirit to pick yourself back up. And you did.
That's where I used to be.
Right.
You know, I never, ever in my life worked for someone else. Never.
Never.
Ever. Never.
You don't even know what it is
No.
to have an 8 to 4 job.
Nah.
Can you imagine having an 8 to 4
No,
job?
I don't want to imagine it.
You know, Alan, I got to say this, Albert. It's amazing to me. Your roots are in behind the Iron Curtain,
Yeah.
but you're so
The
entrepreneurial.
entrepreneurial spirit's unbelievable.
It's fascinating to me as a Canadian growing up in North America to listen to you talk about your journey and your desire to just be yourself.
You can call me hard worker if you wish.
Yeah.
Right? Because I always work hard. Or you can call me adventurous if you wish. Entrepreneurial, yes, I have some, but I never wanted to be a billionaire.
Right.
No.
I never wanted to be a billionaire. I never visualized that. Oh, I'd be flying with my
Yeah.
jet, you know, private jet. Or never. I always wanted. I was always a stand on the ground guy, you know, a family man.
Yeah.
And it's just, I probably just a little bit self-confident and braver than others. That's all.
Right. You did what needed to be done
Yeah.
to
And I always feel, and I always listen my intuition. Always.
you've got a good gut instinct. Now, Hurricane
Well,
Leslie helped you a little bit.
Except investing money in some places. No?
Okay,
There's
fair
his
enough.
sense of humor.
There's a
He's
sense of
laughing
humor.
about it now.
Yeah, of course you have to. What else are you going to do? You have to laugh about it, right?
I'm totally grateful for
Right.
that bad decision.
Right.
Yeah, because
Without
if
that,
it wasn't made, we were not here.
yeah,
Right?
exactly.
We were not here.
Just stop. Hear what he just said?
Yeah.
I'm grateful for that bad decision.
Yeah.
That is incredibly profound.
Yeah, no, well, it is, right? I mean, to celebrate a failure or something is good. You pick up, you learn, you move in a different direction, and oftentimes it's a better direction, right?
And after that many experience in so much different fields and so much experience and up and downs, I actually grateful for every single moment
Yeah.
we have
Yeah.
today.
Right.
And I'm not looking back. There's no regret. I'm not looking back. I'm not
Yeah.
whining. I'm not crying on what happened in the past.
Yeah.
Trying to enjoy the moment
Right.
as much as possible, and looking to the future with the bright
Yeah.
vision. You know. So,
There's a great movie, Cannonball Run, I think it is, and
no.
guy, you probably don't know, guy gets in a race car and he grabs a rear view mirror, you know,
Mm-hmm.
pulls it off and throws it out the window. Said, we're only looking ahead. Doesn't care what's happening behind him, right? So, Laszlo, so Hurricane, we'll call it Hurricane Laszlo, hits Newfoundland. Hurricane Laszlo hits Newfoundland, right? So you start building your business, but you're there up until not 6 months ago, right? You're living in Newfoundland.
We moved back home last July,
Right.
so it was a year and a half ago.
Year and a half ago, you leave Newfoundland. You're
Yeah.
now Canadian citizens. You, Judith, the kids are all Canadian citizens. You decide, okay, let's go back to Hungary. What precipitated this decision to return home to this incredible city? And I can understand
Yeah.
why you'd
Yeah,
want to live here.
It's a beautiful city for sure, and it's a beautiful country for sure.
Yeah.
So the reason behind it, it's very simple. So we moved to somewhere and integrated, and we made a bit of success and try to enjoy everything what we had. I still missing the ocean. This is incredible, and it was 10 years, and our kids were 5 and 6 when we moved to Canada, and we came to the point when we realized that they are 16 and 17. In 2 years' time, they're going to the university,
Right.
in somewhere in Canada or in the States or whatever. But they never had a chance to be Hungarian.
Wow.
So the question was whether we wanted to use this 2 years period like a window and bring them home and give them stronger roots, stronger connections with the friends and the family and culture and the food and Budapest, you know. Or we don't take advantage of this 2 years and we might lose them somewhere. We know a lot of second generation Canadians. We met a lot of people that they practically lost their identity. So they didn't know where they are. They didn't know where they belongs to. They didn't know who they are, actually, because they had no roots. And it's not against Canada. We love Canada. We love Canada.
Fair question.
Canada's a country of immigrations. But you still have to be sure where you coming from.
Right.
And once you find a home,
Yeah.
deep inside, when you find a home, you can go anywhere. The world is yours. You know, you can travel, you can live, you can do whatever, but you need to know where's your home. So that was the main reason. So I cut the business off.
That's called a pivot. Yours is a little more dramatic.
So once the decision was made, it took me like a good year to convince Judith to make that move.
Right.
You know, because we were stable.
Yeah.
We were fine. The business was running. We're flying, and Judith has a great position at the government, Ministry of Justice. So we could easily start thinking about retirement in 10 years. You know, we could do that, no trouble. And we made a decision, and we put it on the table for the kids. Okay, yeah, there was drama, you know, teenage girls, of course. But we made a decision. So I tried to sell the business as a whole itself. Obviously, couldn't find anybody.
I'm just proving we're outside as people walk by. Anyway.
So I tried to sell the business to make some money on it.
Couldn't sell
Not
it.
happen.
Yeah.
Not happen.
No.
So I sold the equipment, trucks, and
Get rid of the chainsaws.
all the chainsaws. And
You didn't bring them on the plane in your carry-on luggage?
Nah. I just turn away.
Yeah.
You know. So cut the business off, make some money on the tools and equipments, and moved. Put the kids on the plane. We sold everything, the household, the kitchen, the furniture, everything. So we came back home, 4 suitcases again, 2 kids and a wife. Yeah.
Just tell me what it was like coming back home.
Beautiful.
Yeah, tell me about
Beautiful.
it. Tell me about coming off the plane and who you met and how it felt and the first meal you had.
It's just we regularly came home twice a year,
Right.
3 times a year. So it was nothing.
But that's a visit.
That's a visit.
That's a
But
different thing.
Yeah, but the feeling to be home, be surrounded by friends and family, it was just fascinating.
Really?
Fascinating.
And the kids, they loved it? Or still figuring it out?
They try to figure. So we dropped them in deep water again, because the Hungarian or European school system and education system is different. You know?
Yeah.
Even though they do, the older one still does the same program, IB, but the system and the teachers and the kids and
Different model.
it's different model. So we dropped them in the deep water again, and after 3 months, I asked all 3 of them, okay, tell me now, was it a good decision or bad decision? And they said, that was the best decision made.
I hope you knew the answer before you asked the question.
And believe me, I was the bad cop.
Yeah.
When I came up with the moving idea.
Yeah, but they were happy.
They are happy.
Of course they're happy.
They are really happy.
What's not to be happy? Now, I met your mother and father-in-law. They're lovely people.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Laszlo, or sorry, Albert, both. Hungary is a beautiful place. We got to see Budapest. You took us to the country. We got to see the country. Fascinating. But it's a misunderstood place. Would you agree? Like, you talked to a lot of people in Canada, I'm sure,
Yeah.
10 years when you were in Newfoundland. They must have been very curious about Hungary. Because it's the history, the last 100 years, has been complicated, to say the least. Tell me about those conversations and how you would express Hungary to people right now.
Yeah, you are right, completely right. But if you want to be totally honest, one story what you hear from the North American news, right? Canadian American news, or we can call it propaganda,
Right.
because you hear just one side of the story,
Percent?
and we can differentiate because we know the other side of the story,
Right.
So, of course, there's a lot of conflict. EU doesn't work well as supposed to be.
Right.
There's a very serious conflict right next to in a neighbor, right?
Right.
Ukraine, Russia. But every story has two sides, at least.
Yeah.
So people around the world call Hungarian government as a regime, right? Or whatever we call it. But it's stable.
Stable,
It's stable. And they do a lot of good things to the country, to the people. And I'm not political,
Yeah.
and I don't want to be at all political. But it's just another side of an angle, you know.
Right.
It's a different angle. So Hungary is a beautiful country. Hungary is a stable country,
Yeah.
and Budapest is one of the most desired tour destination in Europe right now. There's millions of people coming and enjoying the city, the culture, the architecture, the food, everything. Just top shelf, you know.
Yeah.
Just on that note, we were just up by the palace, the presidential palace.
Yeah.
We walked right by it. It's if anyone was thinking in North America, and you're right, you get the sense that it's not a regime. There's definitely freedom and the ability for us to walk right next to the office of the president. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
Probably economic size of it, we hit hard, like every other country hit hard by the recession and inflation, and it's not easy. I'm not saying everything is just
No.
it's not making enough money for living, or see the future for your kids. It's not easy in Hungary. So I'm not saying
Yeah.
it's an easy country. It's not,
But I understand, because you have Russia to the east, you have the Europe to the west, and then North America. You're in the very middle of all of this. So I understand the challenges that you've.
it's just too much
articulated.
influence, you know.
It is, isn't
It's just too much impact from the EU, because we have to stand up against the EU in some cases, you know,
Yeah.
some sanctions,
Some decisions. And
some
things like that.
decisions. So we have EU, we have Russia, yes, and you're right. There's an American influence in a good or bad way, but it's complex. It's very, very plus. We have the history, a very very long and sometimes painful
Yeah.
history. So we've lost 2/3 of the country after the first war, and it's still in our hearts, you know.
Of course.
And it's still there,
Yeah.
deep inside. And it's just so many small nations trying to pull the same carriage, you know,
Yeah.
in Europe. It's just not easy to harmonize, not easy to make it as a.
But the way you describe, we've had other guests on, and one of them most recently described pressure as producing a diamond. right? So if you look at
that's
Hungary
nice.
and all the pressure around it,
That's
well,
nice.
maybe a diamond is being produced here, right? And we'll give that one to Fred George. Right?
Listen, you continue to impress me, Alan.
Yeah.
That's a really good one. I love that.
Yeah.
You did a good job with that there.
But I mean, you walk around Budapest now as a tourist, like Jerry and I, and our sons are here with us, and you don't get a feeling of a regime-style government. You get a very welcoming, beautiful city with everything you could want, but a real nice flair to it, a different style of even Europe you have here, right? It's a different style. It's a nice style. It's welcoming and inviting. What would you tell people that might be considering a trip here? What would be the draw here?
I would definitely encourage everybody to come and see the other side of the story. Come and see how relaxed, how nice, how easy, how as it from a tourist perspective. It's just perfect.
Yeah.
It's just no better place to go. Obviously, a lot of people go to Italy, a lot of people go to France or Spain, but Hungary is different. It's a different vibe, different style, a little bit of, it's a mixed, a little bit of everything. But the hospitality, the people, and the Budapest itself, it's just worth any trip.
I worked in advertising for 30 years, and one of the things that we had, top of mind awareness. It's called TOMA, T-O-M-A, top of mind awareness. What I think Hungary doesn't have is top of mind awareness. You got London, Paris, Rome, Athens. But I'm telling you, Alan, I am so proud that we've come here.
Oh.
I'm proud of us, to be honest with you, for saying this is a place that needs to be heard. I really think what you guys are doing is incredible. I just want to bring it back to the pivot again, the challenge that you had. I bought some things here. The very first time I used my credit card, I couldn't read anything. I think about you and Judith when you went to Newfoundland. You thought you knew English, but I had a minor challenge with one purchase. You did 10 years in our province. It astounds me at how you got the fortitude to just make it happen. Just go back, just reflect a little more on that for me, please.
Did you mention the sweet story about our first breakfast in Newfoundland?
No.
No?
Tell us.
We stayed at a hotel right at waterfront.
We got 13 minutes left. We can talk for that many
In
times.
St.
We
John's.
have the whole internet.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And the first morning, wake up, we went down the street, had a little walk, and we were looking for a bite, eat something. And we went into the first Subway on the street, and literally, that was so shameful experience. We couldn't order breakfast.
And you spoke English, right?
Really?
Really?
So but you did speak English.
Yeah. We
Or was it just that they couldn't figure out what you were saying?
So you had two baby girls with you.
Yeah.
You were all hungry.
Yeah.
And you couldn't order breakfast?
Of course.
Tell us exactly what happened.
Finally, we found a way to.
Yeah, you start
to order.
pointing.
Yeah. But that was.
Tell us another story like that. These are really, really enjoyable. And not at the time, I'm sure, for you, but...
I tell you a good story.
Yep.
After the situation we went through in the last, before we moved, the last 2 years, it was very hard and very, very stressful. And we moved to Newfoundland, and we never been stronger as a couple, as a family. Never been stronger for each other. It was beautiful. How we can support each other, how we can win through on challenging difficulties. That was beautiful.
Was there a support there for you in Newfoundland? Did you quickly make connections, or how did Newfoundland embrace you at that time?
I'm a social person.
Right.
Easy to make connections.
Really?
Oh, 100%. And plus Newfoundlanders has a great attitude on involving people, outsiders, even outsiders, you know, into their family, into their social life, into their community. So, hat off of Newfoundlanders. We're so grateful for them, honestly.
Albert, I think a lot about, we've met your daughters, and one thing I'll congratulate you and Judith on is two beautiful daughters, just so, I think about how well educated they are. Not in book smarts, but you've given them street smarts. I think that's something that's incredibly important for the young people today, because it's a confusing world out there, you know?
Yeah, it's confusing, but we found Canadian kids are living in a bubble, you know? So they have not much chance to differentiate or listen something from different angle. So it's like North America.
Yeah.
The consumption is the culture, and the people. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not offense. Don't take
Yeah,
it
no,
personal.
no.
It's just my opinion.
Right.
So and it's really embarrassed me just to go after consumption. You know,
Right.
to buy something, to buy a bigger one, buy another one,
Yeah.
and just throw it away in halfway used.
Yeah.
You know. And that's the eco side, and informative side, the same thing. People have no differentiation because they just listen to same channel, same media,
Right.
all day, every day.
Yeah.
And it's another great advantage for my kids to live in.
See both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See both. And Hungary is the place where you can pick the street smart skills, you know. So.
Do you think the kids will be entrepreneurial like you? And Judith. Judith's entrepreneurial too.
Judith is amazing.
Yeah.
Judith is amazing.
We'll have her on soon.
Yeah.
She'll be on soon.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It'll be our second
There'll be
time.
another episode.
We did it on
Yeah.
Zoom last time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Do you think the kids will pull in that entrepreneurial spirit?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. They see something. They see us as a reasonable role, you know, to find a way how to get through and so I always tell them when they hit the a fork, you know, they need to make quick decision. Listen to the guts and make decision right now. And once you step on the path, everything will be aligned. That's my idea.
Yeah.
If you trust your guts, and if you see the way where you want to go, everything will be aligned.
Well, you know what, Alan, I'm going to say this. I don't think everyone is meant to be an entrepreneur, but everyone can be entrepreneurial. Whether your daughters go out on their own or not, I think what you and Judith have given them is the ability to recognize that fork in the road and make
Right.
decisions. I think sometimes in Canada we have our kids being a little bit too comfortable, you know. So I think what you're doing is commendable. I'm still blown away by the decision to make the move and back and forth. It's just wonderful.
That was an incredible conversation. Now, you said one thing there in the middle of the conversation that you said you're trying to be a reasonable role model to your kids, you and Judith.
Yeah.
No, I think you're much more than that. I think you're much more than that. Would you agree?
Well, I can say this, Alan. We met Judith about a year and a half ago on Zoom. We've had multiple conversations. To have this experience in my life because of you, Albert, and your wife is incredibly fulfilling. And the other thing that this has given myself and Alan the opportunity, and don't mind telling our viewers, our two boys are here with us. We have an 18 or two 19. Actually, your son turns 19 on November 11th. The opportunity to give those young men a experience like this, and I've traveled a lot around the world, but I've never experienced what you have given us, Albert. And I'm telling you right now, I will be forever grateful for that.
Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Well, another wonderful edition of...
Touching. Thank you so much.
Another wonderful edition of Gale Force Wins. I have to tell you, that was a really great conversation, Albert. I'm glad that you brought us into your life here in the early days in Hungary. I'm glad...
We never touched the...
Next episode, we'll have to touch that. More episodes.
We have 8 minutes left.
Tell us about the hat. What company is it? The hunting.
Yeah, it's a hunting. So we had a different path of a conversation, but I just wanted to reflect the nature is still comes with me,
Right.
you know. So I have a hunting booking agency, and I bring people from all over the world to hunt in Hungary.
Wow.
And I take people from Europe to hunt all over the world. So, and it started my early age, of course. And when we get to Newfoundland, I had a few friends who wanted to come over and see our environment, and that's where it started. And a few years after, I went to the biggest American hunting exhibition and show in Vegas. That was as an only Hungarian outfitter, and that was intimidating. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And I'm so confident. I'm preparing myself and the show material for Dallas, Texas in January.
Wow.
And I'm feeling myself home in Dallas, and I have a lot of friends and the biggest names in the hunting industry. They're just they want to come over.
Sure they do.
They want to come over to Hungary, and we had a World Nature and Hunting show last September held in Hungary. So half of the world just came over and visited us, and I get just more and more traffic, and I guide more and more people, so I can represent Hungary as a cool destination for outdoor.
Wow.
Being an outdoor too.
I think that's really important, because anyone who watches this, and I know my brother is a big hunter, there's a lot of hunters in Canada, we can send them your way.
100%. That's a great offering.
So before we go, there's something that I've been noticing. I monitor our scenery. So I'll just show you, Alan. The Parliament buildings are now lit up behind us. So the curious thing about this setting is that it's foggy here.
Yeah.
Like, again, when we sat down, we talked about that. But anyone who's wondering what's right behind Alan, and the sky has a yellowish tinge to it, that's the fog being lit by the Parliament buildings, which we toured the other day. Wow. So, you know, this is a spectacular setting, isn't it?
Yeah.
You will see the Parliament building from the water, because we have a boat tour scheduled.
Yeah.
Sightseeing, nighttime sightseeing boat tour scheduled for 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So you will see Budapest from the water from different perspective.
Different perspective.
You will love it.
The footage you are now looking at is 27 seconds of time-lapse video on the Danube looking at Budapest.
Well, another great edition of Gale Force Wins. Albert, thanks very much for joining
Thank
us.
you so much.
And your hospitality here has been unbelievable. Hungary has been unbelievable. If you're a Canadian looking for an adventure, Hungary is a place for you. And there's more to it than just Budapest. There's outside of Budapest. There's so much to see in this beautiful country that's rich with culture and history and food and cuisine, and the people are amazing. Thanks for joining us on Gale Force
Thank
Wins.
you so much again.
The world needs more Albert Laszlo.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for watching Laszlo Albert's interview. This is what follows is a little bit of bonus content. We actually recorded out on the courtyard of the Aran Bastia restaurant, and the interview that follows is actually an interview with the manager of the Aran Bastia, and I think you'll enjoy it.
We are really excited to be here in I guess you'll describe where we are exactly, but Judith, just give us a little sense of where we are from your perspective, and then I guess you can ask Albert to introduce himself.
We're here in Budapest at the Arany Bastia restaurant. We're on the Buda side, in the Buda Castle exactly. And this is a wonderful place. I wanted to come here for so long, and I'm so happy to be here. And Gábor, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about this beautiful place?
First of all, thank you very much for coming. It's so nice that you managed to come here after such a long time that you wanted to come. I'm Gábor Keresztes. I'm the director of F&B of the Arany Bastia restaurant. And the reason why everything around us is unique is the history. So here, if you look around, every single part of the building has a piece of history, but the whole building is brand new. So this building was originally built to Lónyai Menyhért, and after Lónyai Menyhért sold to Hatvany Ferenc had a huge art collection as well here, and it took 5 years to manage to organize everything in this building to store here. And unfortunately, like most of the other buildings in this side of the city, on Buda side especially, got bombed during the Second World War, and this building got bombed as well. But before has been destroyed, basically has been, they distill everything from here, the whole art collection as well. The art collection, you saw even a book about it, what tell every single part, every single room individually, what piece of art was on the wall, included furnitures as well, for example. And here, around the end of 1990s, someone had the idea to build something here, and took such a long time to get done this building, but at the end of 2021 the building has been finished and opened as home of the Batthyány Lajos Foundation and home of the Arany Bastia restaurant as well.
Were you saying that it was it empty for a period of decades, or did you? Yeah, it was.
Yeah, after the Second World War, like at 46, they demolished the leftover as well of the building.
So it was like bombed to the ground.
Yes.
Is this part of the original building?
This is part of the original Arany Bastia, the Golden Bastion. The Golden Bastion, what is the name of the restaurant as well, is from the unfortunate 2 years when Turkish people were inside the castle district and we were outside of the castle district. They did build bastions around the castle district, and this is the leftover of that part. So it's way older than the original building. This one was under the ground when the original building was built here.
So what year approximately would these stones be from?
Well, what is behind me is you can see 3 different layers. Yes. of the foundation of the original Golden Bastion as well, and the bottom layer is from the 13th century, and we are going up to the 16th.
So you're a restaurant manager, but we're putting you on the spot now as a archaeologist, I guess, are we? It's not the first time you've been asked that question, I guess.
Well, it never happened before.
Well, you did a good job as an archaeologist. I was lucky enough to have lunch here today. Judith and Aniko set us up. I had the beef. It was absolutely delicious. Tell us a little bit about the inspiration for the restaurant and the dishes that you're serving.
It's not just about the food. It's something what we want to create. We want to create a space for people who just live around us or coming from abroad as well. A space where they can come just for a discussion. They can come for a glass of international wine or champagne. enjoy a cheese plate with it, and want to create something what is unique with the part of the history what was in the building, but unique with the view as well, and unique with every single small piece what we have in this building. For example, in the restaurant, just I'm starting from a little bit far away from your question.
That's fine.
So in the restaurant, if you look around, you can see even the carpet on the floor, what is the original map from the part of the century when the original building was here, is like a Google Maps on a carpet, but from 100 years ago. So every single small details are about the history, about the traditions what we have here. And the food want to create something similar. Most of the items, for example, we have the cheese plate on the menu, what is made from cheese selection from Carpathian Basin. If you check the new menu, you could see a couple of traditional Hungarian dishes as well. But this place always asked to be a little bit international as well. So it was a huge question, how can we create something what is international, but we are able to show what is the Hungarian cuisine. And the beef chicks, what you had, for example, is something similar as well. It's a little bit international, but it's a little bit Hungarian as well.
It had a Hungarian twist on it. Mm-hmm. It was delicious. I've never ever tasted a beef cheek that delicious before.
Thank you very much. I will tell the chef definitely.
I agree. And back to your answer to my question about the cuisine, the atmosphere, Judith, I felt it the moment we walked in. It was spectacular. You just feel welcome. All your staff make eye contact. We sat down. The opening dish was a soup.
Beef
soup. I love the way it was served in a what would you call, not a bowl, but
it's a red pot.
Yeah,
pot.
It's a
It was served in a pot, and the staff took the top off, and it actually, and I'll have a picture of it up, but it was on a plank, a wooden plank, stamped, I guess, with the logo of the restaurant.
Yeah.
Just really the way I felt being served here was incredible. Well, how did you feel?
Yeah, absolutely exquisite. The food, the service, and not to mention the Parliament building. So we were sitting at a table where we could just see the Parliament building, and we were so fortunate to be here having our dessert while they were turning the lights on the Parliament building. So can you imagine that the sun is setting and the lights are on and you're having the delicious meal and just looking out of the window and see this beautiful panoramic view of the Parliament building and the Danube. It is truly a remarkable place in Budapest.
You mentioned that it was very nice when you walked in and you felt welcomed here. It's something what is very important as well, that if you look the building from outside, some of the people are, maybe it's too fancy for me. Mm-hmm. I don't really want, I'm not dressed like that. This place doesn't want to be like that. This place, if you check the interior design as well, we put tonnet style chairs as well, just to make a little bit softer, to be more cozy for everyone, say like that.
So you started here at this restaurant how long ago?
Well, we opened one and a half years ago.
So briefly, prior to that, what was your job? Where were you 5 years ago?
Well, 2 years ago I was already here, well, more or less 2 years ago, when the building has been finished. So I saw every single walls when it has been painted, and sometimes even the wall was not there. But I just moved back from abroad, so I spent 10 years in London. I worked in different high-end hotels and restaurants.
How does it make you feel to be here in this incredible restaurant?
Well, as my plan was always to be in a restaurant like this. And I was so lucky because in London I saw beautiful restaurants, beautiful buildings, beautiful hotels. And I always had the dream that, okay, I really want to work in a place in Budapest, similar place in Budapest, and I found it.
Judith, what would you say to summarize your experience here today?
That I would recommend to everyone to come here. Doesn't matter if you're looking for a fancy restaurant or if you're just coming here for the view or having a nice meal or just a glass of wine. I think it's worth a try for everyone.
I agree. Can you pronounce the name of the restaurant for my Canadian friends watching this once again?
It's Aranybástya.
Aranybástya.
Almost.
Let me try again. Aranybástya.
Yes?
Better?
Getting there? Yeah.
Getting there.
Well, all I can say is that Gale Force Wins is incredibly privileged to have been in your presence and be served by your staff today. This was truly one of the most incredible experiences that I've had in a culinary experience in my life, and I appreciate what you do every day. Keep doing it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Gale Force Wins. That's GaleForceWins, WINS.com.